What's up, guys? Got a good video for you today. Not something that was asked of me or anything, but something that can help a lot of people. So lately I've been working with a few people on lower backs. They have, lower back pain, stiff lower backs, just something's not jiving with their back. So I've been helping a few people, and in this process, and I myself used to suffer from lower back pain. I used to have this thing with my lower back that, maybe once every 6 weeks or something, I would tweak it, man, and it would put me out of commission for 2-3 days. So I myself used to suffer from this, and I actually read a statistic: 80% of people at some point or another will suffer from lower back pain in their life. So when I was helping these people out, I kind of came up with this, test to see how susceptible you are to lower back issues. And in helping these people, I figured, why not shoot this and put it out there? Even if you haven't suffered from it before, your chances of suffering from lower back issues are high. I mean, 80% of people at some point or another will experience lower back issues. So put this test out here. It's something easy you can do at home. You can do it right at home to see how susceptible you are. So let's do it. All right, so your first two tests are gonna be on the floor. You're going to bring your knees up to your chest to flatten your lower back out. So your lower back should be totally flat against the floor. Now what you're gonna do, your first test, is to see how straight you can get your legs in this position with your lower back staying flat on the ground. So all you're gonna do is just straighten your legs out, all right? Now, to pass this test, you need a 90-degree angle on your hips, and your knees need to be completely locked out, not bent like this. Yeah, I can have a 90-degree bend on my hips if my knees are bent, but the knees have to be locked out, completely locked out, toes not pointed, they're pulled and flexed as hard as you can, and you just hold this position. You need to be able to hold this position comfortably. You need to be able to keep those knees locked out and have that 90-degree angle on your hips, all while the lower back stays completely flat. That's test number one. Test number two, you're still gonna be on the ground, and you're still gonna be in the same position. Now we're gonna test some core strength. So, in that same position, back totally flat, legs up in the air. You keep your arms up or on the sides, wherever you want them, just to keep them out of the way. But once again, lower back is completely flat, legs locked out, toes flexed. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna slowly lower your legs towards the floor and see how low you can get them, keeping your back completely flat. So, to pass this test, you need to get your legs at least 45 degrees. At least 45-degree angle, or I like to see slightly lower. 45-degree angle is technically passing, but it's barely passing. So, legs straight, ankles flexed, you're gonna lower. So when your legs reach about 45 degrees, if you can keep your back completely flat in this position, technically that's passing. I'd like to see it a little lower, but that is test number two. Now you should be able to not only lower and get to that point, but you should be able to maintain it for at least 5 to 10 seconds. Not, dropping your legs super fast, and just because you made it down there, that's not passing. You need to be able to slowly lower it in control, hold that position for 5 to 10 seconds in order to pass that. But the back stays completely flat the whole time. If that back comes up at all, All right, last test. We're gonna look at your hips. We're gonna look at the mobility of your hips. So I'll square up to the camera here. So you're gonna sit on a high-rise chair or whatever you got, table. You want your feet to dangle because you're gonna be moving these things freely. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna test the rotation of your hips. So, first thing you're gonna do, you're stand up nice and tall, good posture. And you're gonna test one leg at a time. Nice and tall, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna start to swing your foot to the inside of your body, just like this. So this right here is testing external hip rotation. So the only thing you're doing is rotating your femur. You know, I'm not straightening my leg at all, I'm not bending my knee at all. There's a 90-degree bend consistent on my knee, and I am just rotating. I'm not turning my hips stay square to the front, and I'm just rotating my femur. Nice and free, nice and slow. Don't jerk it up like this. Don't try to get a higher score by whipping your leg up. Everything is slow and controlled. Keep the ankle flexed, just like this. Do a couple reps. You know, whatever you can hold and maintain, that's your score. Now, for external rotation, we like to see getting to about 45-degree angle on that lower shin. That's a pretty good score. Same thing, now you do the same thing with the other side. Now we test internal rotation. So now instead of the foot coming in, the foot is going to go out. You're going to rotate the foot out. Now, you typically won't be able to go as far internally, but you should still get to maybe 30-35-degree angle on that lower leg. So there's one side, and you do the same thing with the other side. With that test, we like to see about 45 degrees on external, and then about 30-35 degrees on the internal. But the big things to look out for that is if you pass on one side and not on the other, or if you have a big discrepancy from one side to the other. If you have big discrepancies from right to left, then you're very, very prone to injury. You know, if you're gonna be tight, you wanna be tight on both sides, because if one side is working really well and the other side is very restricted, that enhances your risk of injury a lot more than being even on both sides, even though if you're even, they might be restricted. I hope that makes sense. So being restricted on both sides is better than being really restricted on one side and being okay on another side. So that really increases your risk of injury. So that's another thing to look out for with that one. It's not just pass-fail, but also if you're symmetrical to each side. Now, you know, you might have, you know, one side that's a little more comfortable, that moves a little bit better, but if it's like a big discrepancy from right to left, that's an issue. That's something you gotta address. But that's the test, man. That's C-Roy's at-home lower back test to see how susceptible or how at risk you are for lower back issues. Now, if you pass all three of those, doesn't mean you'll never develop lower back pain, or doesn't mean that you can't have an injury. On the same note, if you fail one of those tests, doesn't mean for sure that you will get lower back pain. It's just a test to show exactly what it is, and that's just to see how at risk or susceptible you are to lower back issues. So go ahead and give that a shot. See where you're at, and keep those lower backs healthy and safe. If you like this video, you found it helpful, like it, share it. Really share this one, man, because lower back, like I said, 80% of people will experience it at some point or another in their lives, man. So this is something that maybe give people an opportunity to, you know, get ahead of the game on this one, you know, get out in front and maybe prevent some issues. So share it. Also subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to be a healthy, jacked, badass